Hey there, and welcome to the Bru and Shaka Show, Real Estate in the Real World. I'm Bru Krebs.
And I'm Shaka Walker. And today we're going to be talking about the most important challenges facing both sellers and buyers right now and how they're navigating those to make sure that they achieve their goals. And let's face it, one mistake by a seller could cost them thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. And a mistake by a buyer could put them in a bad situation where they could possibly lose their new home altogether.
You know, we've got some great ideas for you today, but be sure that you stay tuned until the very end because we're going to give you our number one pick for what we expect to see the highest ROI gain over the next 4 years. But first, let's dig into those buyers, Shaka.
Well, Bru, it's a super turbulent market out there right now. And with interest rates still rising, home prices increasing, low inventory, bidding wars, and we're seeing buyers have less buying power now. I mean, interest rates, they're at 4.75%. And last year we saw about 2.5%. And the average home prices increased 17% year over year. And there's no signs projecting that's going to slow down.
So that's a lot more house today than you'd be able to buy, say, for in a year. Because if that price is going up and the interest or the cost of the money is going up, they're not going to be able to buy nearly as much house next year as they will be able to buy this year, right?
That's right. So, I mean, now may be the cheapest time we'll see for a long time, if not ever, to purchase a home.
Well, we're rolling into our third year of a seller's market here. And what are the buyers thinking? What's in their heads?
They're thinking, I better hurry up and get something before the prices keep increasing. But you also have some buyers that are thinking, you know, maybe I should wait. Maybe the market's going to slow down. But again, there's no projection that's saying that this is going to slow down.
So why do you think there is such an influx? Why are there so many people wanting to buy right now?
Well, rent prices, for one, are skyrocketing. We're seeing a lot of long-time renters now realize it's a lot cheaper to purchase now than to keep renewing their lease that keeps increasing. But on the flip side of that, we're seeing corporations purchase homes for rental purposes because they see there's a lot of money to be made in it.
So you got renters that have been renting, buying. You got corporations that are buying. You know, a lot of people looking for homes with a very limited amount of inventory. How are you and the buyers navigating this limited inventory?
Well, we are, as a team, we actually do a lot of door knocking and communicating with other agents to see when we can expand some off-market opportunities. But working with the current inventory, our buyers are now opening their search criteria. They're expanding either on location or what they're actually needing, whether it's, hey, I needed 3 bedrooms. Now they're saying I can do a 2-bedroom with an office.
So is there some place, like was there one area, town, one product or something that the buyers are winning big in? And is there one that is there one they're losing in, I guess I should say, and one that they're winning more in?
Well, I would say the biggest winners right now, I'll give you 2. Condos. Buyers that are going after condos, they're seeing it a lot easier, a lot less competition, a lot more inventory, and they're actually able to get some properties at list price or maybe a little bit below. But number 2, I would say, is the biggest winners are those that are getting in communities that are still up and coming and they're riding that appreciation wave.
I completely agree with that. You know, what are your biggest challenges for your buyers when you go in to make an offer? You know, what things are sellers, are you seeing from your side that, are detractive to sellers? I mean, is it the competition of the price? Is it the type of financing? What is it?
Well, there's a few things. I would say biggest challenge right now is competition. There's a lot of it out there. We're no longer going up against just what the seller wants. We're going up against everyone else and how bad they want the property. But going into it, another challenge is types of financing. We live in a world where cash is king, and we're seeing a lot of cash offers. I actually have found ways to have access to cash for my buyers. So my conventionally financed FHA finance and even VA finance buyers can now present a cash offer. We've been able to tackle that one, but I would say the last big obstacle is, even with that, the lenders. A lot of sellers are being very particular about which lenders they're willing to work with because they want to know that the deal is going to close and going to close on time.
Well, What are some of the ways? I mean, I'm hearing a lot about multiple offers, and I know we're seeing them a lot, especially on our single-family homes. What are some of the techniques? Like, what would you say were your 2 top techniques that you're using to sort of differentiate your buyers' offers versus those ones that they're getting from other agents?
Well, I do like that. That question is actually one of my favorite because we are using a new technique, or we are partnering with a new company that is allowing our buyers, again, that have traditional financing options to now have a cash option. So that makes us stand out because, again, cash is king, so we can play that cash game. And another way is talking with the listing agent to figure out exactly what's going on with the seller and what their priorities are, and making the offer match those priorities, and even writing a letter to the seller. That still works.
Okay. Are you seeing any buyers panic?
Yes, I'm seeing lots of buyers panic because they're on timelines. They're worried about the inventory. They're like, are we overbidding? So it is a look back to COVID. Everyone kept saying, what an unprecedented time. We don't know what's going to be in the future. And people were kind of hesitant. But that's human nature, I feel.
Are there things that you're seeing that, on the buyer side, things that they might overlook that they would not have overlooked in a regular market? I mean, are they skipping some of the inspection items or requests for repairs, those kind of things? Are they skipping, due diligence period? What are some of the things they're willing to skip over?
We are seeing that. We are seeing some buyers that will forego the due diligence period altogether. That's super scary for me. I would rather a client go with the right to request repairs than to skip altogether due diligence. But I'm also seeing clients that were wanting that picture perfect turnkey property now become more interested in properties that have a little bit of room for them to renovate it themselves so that they can save money and possibly have less competition. In respect to the inspections, we are seeing buyers now understand that they may not be able to get everything on the inspection report, if not anything, and they're budgeting accordingly so they can cover some of those expenses that they would normally have asked for.
Shaka, it sure is easy to see that there is a lot for buyers to take in. It's clearly important for the buyers to be prepared and using the latest techniques, of course, if they want to get their new home, if they want to get into the home ownership before it gets so much more expensive. And if you guys out there could help us, by liking, commenting, sharing our video, we would also be super, super grateful on that.
Yeah. So, Bru, let me ask this. We talked a lot about buyers. What about the sellers right now? What are they thinking?
Sellers right now are in a strong position, but let's face it, a few missteps in this market, though, can cost them tens of thousands of dollars or even the entire sale on their side as well. Pricing, marketing strategy, and choosing the right buyer are more critical now than they have ever been before. It's also super important to understand the contracts that you're signing because they can be quite confusing. The last few years, millennials started coming into the market for the first time. And then, COVID made the supply of labor and materials for new homes extremely difficult to build. And right now in the United States, we're about short 6 million homes in the overall aggregate inventory for what goes to a normal market. Mm-hmm. We add back about 1.5 million of those homes per year. So you can see we've probably got another good 4 years or so before we're going to be seeing what's a normal market.
Yeah. And I mean, Bru, you mentioned pricing. So what's going on with that? How are sellers coming up with the price that they decide to list at?
Well, some sellers are just grabbing a price out of the air and thinking they can get anything that they want. And it's different really depending on whether it's a single family or a condo or a townhome. Condos are it's easy to tell what the other comparables have sold for. Single family homes, there's a little bit more of latitude on that. And townhome, there's a little bit more latitude, but there's also a lot of commonalities between that townhome and others. So basing your pricing, number one, does need to be extremely important right now. Because if they're priced right, your condos, if they're priced right, they're going to sell pretty fast. Now, if they're overpriced, you're not going to get any offers and they're going to sit there. Your townhomes, if they're priced right, we're seeing often the multiple offer situation. I mean, not often, but occasionally the multiple offer situation, but they're selling quickly. And your single family homes, if they're priced right, they're getting these bidding wars and running the prices way, 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 way up. But if they're priced above, they're not getting that multiple offer and they typically will sit there for a minute and end up getting a lot less money for the home in the long run.
Gotcha. And so we're seeing a lot of these price increases. How are your sellers receiving all these price increases?
They're obviously excited about all of this, but sometimes it can be, a little overzealous. They can overprice their homes. Like I said, they sit on the market too long, and it's still very important to price correctly. I'm not saying you can't be aggressive, because you can, but you have to really listen to the marketplace, because let's face it, if you overprice a home, it can turn the buyers off. They can think, okay, well, I'm going to insult the seller by making an offer that's so low and stuff like that, and more buyers won't come through the door, so you don't have quite as many attacks. When you price it right, that's when you get that multiple offer situation, and it runs the price way up.
Yeah, and speaking about multiple offers, how are these sellers choosing the buyer that they select? I mean, if you have 20 offers, how do you pick one? Well, how do you guide them through that?
They're looking for the ones with the least contingencies. The most amount of money, obviously, is really important, and the one that looks the most solid. You mentioned cash before. Cash is really king these days. Or having a loan that is fully underwritten. No or a short due diligence period. The right to inspect is really important. Minimal appraisal or financing periods, if you have to have those, and they're really not negotiating much on the repairs. And buyers are sort of smart too now. They're not asking for a crazy number of repairs either. At least if they are smart buyers, they're not asking for a crazy number of repairs right this minute.
Yeah. And so, question, because I've been wondering this for a while, when in a multiple offer situation, and you have 20 offers, bidding war, they all go way over. You have some homes that get a 10% increase over list price. How are you handling that when it comes to appraisals?
Well, we have several techniques that we're using for that. Obviously, we have to establish in the appraiser's mind what the value of the home is. If we've got a home where all the other comps, let's say, for example, sold at $350, and all of a sudden one side sells at $400. There's nothing that can justify that, but I got 10 offers in my hand. Well, I can take those offers and I can take them to the appraiser, and I can say, look, man, all these people are willing to pay close up to this price. And then he can say, to himself, and he can use those as addendums to his appraiser, saying, this really is what the market is. I also highly recommend for buyers that they have an appraisal gap coverage. Appraisal gap coverage, because sometimes it does come in a little bit short. And my sellers, of course, that's appealing to them. They know, because they know if it does come in short, there's a little bit of coverage that they're going to kick a little bit more money back into. Let's face it, a seller does not want to have to come back into the market. It ends up looking just like when they sit too long. And it's a signal most every buyer sees as, there's something wrong with this property. And it can be very costly to the seller when it comes to that final sales price.
Yeah, so Bru, what would you say is the most common misconception with sellers right now?
That they're saying their home is the same or worth more than just another one because they have the same square footage. Everybody thinks their home is absolutely the most wonderful one in the world, and they are fantastic, but you have to realize that, if a buyer comes along and they don't like the things that are in your home, it's not necessarily, as appealing. Or if you've got one that's got, brand new kitchen and brand new living room, brand new hard floors, and yours has, the ones from 10 or 15 years ago, it's really not going to be as worth as much as the one that's completely renovated. And a lot of times sellers say, oh, well, that home down the street sold for X, so mine must sell for X. And that's not necessarily the case.
So, Bru, we consider ourselves trusted advisors. With that, clients lean on us to guide them through the process. And so what top pieces of advice are you giving your sellers right now?
Be smart. Be logical about your sales price, be organized, and have an excellent marketing strategy. Try to keep your emotions out of it and work with someone who actually knows how to get you the money when it comes to the higher offers. Getting that higher price in the contract is one thing, but actually getting the money can be something totally different.
Wow. Sellers really do have a lot to consider too. Now, please be sure that you guys subscribe, as we'll be bringing you lots of important tips and information that you, both buyers, sellers, and anyone that may just be an interested party just wondering, how's the market, what's going on? Lots of valuable content coming, guys. And please comment below if you have any questions so that we can make sure we get them all answered.
Plus, be sure that you check out the next video that pops up on your screen, because it's going to have some really good information for you as well. Now, for what you've been waiting for is what our #1 pick is for the highest ROI over the next 4 years. And of course, it is important to consider your goals, your risk tolerance, and location when choosing property. But my pick right now is where the South Side Beltline is going in because it just got its federal grant funding. I project that area to have a phenomenal opportunity, much like we saw on the East Side Beltline Trails several years ago, and now like we're seeing pay off on the West Side Beltline Trail.
Now, be sure to tune in our next episode too, when we're doing a deeper dive into exactly what we're seeing, where we're seeing the greatest bang for your buck on the south side of the city. For now, I'm Shaka Walker.
And I'm Bru Krebs. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our videos. Thank you. Have a great day.